Hello, everyone. Welcome to CTL's Education Professional Development Series. My name is Stephanie Shea. I'm the Marketing Manager here at CTL, and we will be doing the webinar today with Blanca Duarte, who is from Logic Wing, and she's going to be going through an overview of the Google Drive. For those of you who are not familiar with CTL, we are headquartered in Portland, Oregon, and have been providing innovative IT solutions to education and government customers for over 26 years. We are a Google for Education partner, and some of our most popular products include our brands of ruggedized CTL and To-Go PC, laptops, convertibles, 2-in-1s, and tablets designed specifically for K-12 education. Over the last 2.5 years, we've worked with Google to introduce a line of CTL Chromebooks that have been recommended by PC Magazine as the best choice for Chromebooks in education. As part of our commitment to education, CTL is offering monthly professional development webinars for our education customers. These webinars will include a variety of topics relevant to K-12 ed tech, but will have a big focus on Google Apps for education and Chromebooks in the classroom. Today's webinar is Google Drive Basics, presented by Blanca Duarte of Logic Wing Professional Development and Technology Consulting. However, before we get started, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. We've taken a screenshot of an example of the attendee interface. You should see something that looks like this on your own computer desktop in the upper right corner. You're listening in using your computer speaker system by default. If you would prefer to join over the phone, just select telephone in the audio pane and the dial-in information will be displayed. You will have the opportunity to submit text questions to today's presenter by typing your questions into the questions pane of the control panel. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation. We will collect these and address them during the Q&A session at the end of today's presentation. Before we get started, I'd like to take a brief poll and find out how familiar everyone here is with the Google Drive. So let's see if you have, indicate if you have zero experience, some experience, a lot. Maybe there's a few experts in here looking to add some comments. So let's see. I'll give you all a few more moments to vote. Well, it looks like almost everybody's voted. Let's see. It's a good mix. Okay, I am going to share this with everyone. So it looks like 30% no experience, 40% some, 20% a lot, and we do have 20% expert. So thank you for taking that. Okay, before I turn it over to Blanca for our presentation, I just want to show you our resources for Nevada Ready 21 educators. When you visit this website, nr21.ctl.net, you can learn about upcoming professional learning opportunities, sign up for updates about upcoming events and information, and join our Google Plus private community for Nevada Ready 21 educators. At this time, I'll introduce Blanca Duarte of Logic Wing Professional Development and Technology Consulting. Blanca is a Google Apps certified trainer, Intel Teach Elements online trainer, and an experienced educator in the public and private sector, for over 25 years. She will take you through an overview of the Google Drive. So, give her a moment to show her screen.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Sure.
Let's see. I actually don't have the ability to show my screen yet.
Okay, let's try something else here.
Beautiful. Got
Okay.
it. Great. Thanks. And good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful May Day. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Today's overview for Google Drive Basics is going to cover an overview of how Google Drive is used in education, how to upload and organize content in Google Drive, how to access files when you need them, and how to get started using this with teachers and students. We will have a Q&A at the end, but if you have a question, type it in that question box so that you don't forget it. So Google Drive for Education is an online storage tool that houses your files. With Google Drive, all your work is safe, available anywhere, and easy to share. Google Drive is just one of the applications available through Google Apps for Education. Google Apps for Education are a suite of productivity tools created by Google whose collaboration features make it possible to share and create information easily with others. Today's focus is solely on Google Drive. So when we talk about how we live and work today, we know that work doesn't just happen in an office or in a school building, and homework doesn't happen in a school building only either. So work and homework today happen everywhere. When we say we live in an incredible time for learning, it's partly because we have access to information anytime we want it, anywhere that we are. And that ability really allows us to learn whenever, wherever, and at any pace that we want to set. Another point worth mentioning is that we don't just work on one device, because it's not just where students work that's changing, but it's also the devices that they're using to get work done. And so having a platform and applications that allow you to access that information from everywhere are really critical. But working anytime, anywhere can be challenging. We have information that's stored on USB drives, email attachments, in cloud storage spaces like Dropbox or OneDrive. And that makes it hard for us to access this information, especially remotely or from a mobile device, if we have the information stored in different places. Even getting the right version of the file sometimes is very difficult to figure out. Google Drive allows you to keep all of your files in one place and then easily share it with the people that you want to share it with. So Google Drive is a place where you can store all your work. You can access that information from anywhere. You can share it easily with anyone. You can work with apps that you already use, and you never have to worry about safety or performance. What I especially love about the Google Drive access from a mobile device is that it really is a very clean user interface. If you notice on the little GIFs picture, you see that you have access to folders, so you can move folders around. You can create new folders on the fly. You can also create documents and access documents from anywhere. The beauty is that you're not just previewing the content, but you also have the ability to edit right on a mobile device. Google Drive is really designed for collaboration and for your teams. You're not just giving your colleagues a way to share documents and folders, but you're also letting them collaborate in real time or co-create content with you using Google Docs and many of the other applications that are available through Google Drive. The version control ensures that everyone is working with the latest copy of a file, and you even have revision history inside of those documents so that you can see the changes that have been made. Additionally, because Google Drive is part of the Google Apps for Education suite, you have the ability to use tools like video chat and screen sharing to work with those documents. But file storage is only a small part of what you do at work. And this is really why I call Google Drive kind of the hub of Google Apps for Education, because you're not looking to just share files and access them, but you also need a place where you can create content, where you can publish it, where you can find it when you need it, and you may need to connect with others working on similar projects. And so having those communication tools and those collaboration tools is really important. One of my favorite things, no more quotas. Google Drive has unlimited storage because Google Drive for Education does not have any limit on how much space you use. And for my IT folks out there, this is really important. You are keeping your data safe and in compliance. You have audit reports and alerts that will allow you to receive notifications if certain language is used in documents. You also have the ability for e-discovery and archiving. So Google Drive for IT departments is really easy to manage. There's a centralized administrator panel through your Google Apps admin console. It does integrate with your existing authentication systems. You can do advanced reporting, and you can even help people get access to their files and folders in case they delete them by accident. You are limited to a certain time period, but just so everyone on the webinar knows, if you ever delete files and you completely remove them from your trash, as soon as you realize that's a mistake, contact your IT administrator for help. So this next part focuses on getting started with Drive. Okay? Drive can be accessed on any device. You can store and view all types of files. And when I say all types, I mean you can preview videos, you can preview pictures right in your browser. You can share and give different permission levels for others to be able to just view, comment, or edit. And recently, we've also been given some additional features that allow us to even stop access, like printing and downloading files for certain types of files. So I just said that Google Drive allows us to store any type of file. Files that you might store now on a thumb drive or on a hard drive include things like PDFs that are opened typically with Adobe Reader or with Preview. You've got Photoshop files that maybe are in a format that need local software to be able to open. You have movie files, you have videos that you take on cameras, you have pictures. You also might have Microsoft Office files. So all of these different types of files can be stored in Google Drive. The nice thing about it is that if you have Microsoft Office files like Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, these files can be easily converted into Google Docs, Google Sheets, or Google Slides, and that allows you the extra capability of sharing those documents with others and allowing them to edit those documents collaboratively. So how do we organize our content in Google Drive? Well, there are several ways that you can do this. When you're first in Google Drive, there are a couple ways that you can upload the files into Drive. You can upload files through your browser. So if you are on a desktop and you go to drive.google.com, you can click on New, Upload File, or Upload Folder, which allows you to upload an entire folder with all of its contents inside of it. If you are on a Chromebook, it will allow you to upload files from a thumb drive or move files that you have stored locally on the Chromebook. If you're on a mobile device, you can open up Drive and you can insert files that are on the hard drive of that mobile device. Another way that you can store files in Google Drive is by installing an application right on your PC or Mac. What that allows you to do is sync the files that are stored in Google Drive onto your local machine. This is especially important in places where internet connectivity is not always reliable, and you don't have to store every file that you have in Google Drive on your local machine. You can actually select the ones that you want. In this screenshot, you'll notice that the red New button in the left-hand navigation pane of Drive has been selected, and you've got the ability to create a new folder or upload file or folder or create a new Google document right on the spot. The other way that you can organize content that goes into Google Drive is by creating folders. And when you create folders, and I know that many of you have very organized folders, you can actually color code them. You can color code them by level of importance. You can set up your own system. For students, this is also a good way to help them organize their information, perhaps set priority to certain folders. Other things that you can do with a folder is you can add a star to it. That's almost like bookmarking a favorite. The filters on the left-hand navigation of Drive do allow you to search for all the files in Drive, all the files that have been shared with you, starred files or favorites, files that are in the trash, and finally, the most recent files that you have access to. Managing folders. Managing folders, you're able to share folders by either right-clicking on the name of the folder or highlighting the folder and clicking on the icons that show up on the upper right-hand corner of the screen. You can get information like the last time that someone accessed the file, if someone deleted the file, if someone made a copy of the file, and other activity. So this really allows you to be able to tell who has access to the files that you're creating or the files that you are shared with. So it gives you a lot of control and visibility. Other things that you can do with files and folders besides sharing them and seeing activity is that you can move them, you can delete, remove the ones that have been shared with you that you don't want to see anymore, or recover trash files and empty your trash. When you highlight a file in Drive, you get an option on the upper right-hand corner that I just talked about. So you have the ability to create a link. That's that first. And you know what? This is the first time I'm using this in a live webinar, so let's see if that works. Look at that. This is a new feature in Slide, so it's a laser pointer. Makes it easier for me to kind of share with you what I'm talking about. And so this link allows you to create a shareable link So very quickly you can decide that you want to share a file with others in your organization, so you can click on that and you'll get a link that you can copy and paste. This next icon allows you to share a folder with a person or a group. Preview is an interesting one. Preview will give you a preview of the document as long as Drive is able to view it. Most files you can preview. You can also highlight and select a video. Don't double click it, just highlight it, and then click on preview, and most videos will play right in the browser for you. This icon here allows you to trash the file or folder. As long as it's yours, you can do that, or else it will just remove. And then these three dots allow you to do things like rename and move a file. Now on the right side of this little faint vertical line is an icon that allows you to see information in a grid view or in a preview. So if you like to see information visually, you want to see your files, quick little preview so that if you're looking for something specific, you'll click on that. Otherwise, if you're like me and you like to just see a list of your documents, you'll click on it and it will go back and forth in a different view. If you want to sort your files by name alphabetically, ascending or descending order, you'll click on this next button. This I for information is the button that you'll click that will give you the activity, who's viewed the file. And this is your settings gear, which will give you access to doing things like turning on offline capability and managing applications that you've attached to Drive. So what happens once you have your files and you need access to them? Well, the first thing is you want to make sure you know how to get access. So I mentioned drive.google.com before, so you can type that into a browser window. You can use the Apps Launcher and select the Drive icon. The Apps Launcher on your Chromebooks and in your browsers looks something like this. If you download special apps on your Mac or PC, you can also just click the Apps icon that shows up, usually the bottom left-hand corner right underneath your URL toolbar. And on the Chromebook itself, you can click on the little magnifying glass, the search button, that gives you access to your All Apps section. But administrators and teachers may want to pin the Drive icon onto the Chromebook shelf to make it easier for students to get access to their information, so they don't have to open up a browser or go looking for the actual app icon. Searching information in Drive is important as well, because in the beginning, depending on how many files you upload or create, it may be just easy to sort by name or sort by last modified to find a file. But as you begin to really store all of your information in Google Drive, you'll want to make sure that you use the search functionalities. Search functionality includes being able to search by keyword, being able to search by files that you have created versus files that other people have created. You can also search by file type. So if you were just looking for presentations, you could select presentations, and all of your Google Slides presentations and your Microsoft PowerPoint presentations would show up as well. As I mentioned earlier, the sharing capabilities are really important, and they're really the main differentiator between Google Drive and other programs. So all of your files and folders can be shared with others. They can be shared with edit, comment, or view access. And they can be shared with groups as well as individual people. We talked already about previewing files, but something else that you can do when you are in preview mode is if you hover over the actual document, you can click on something that says Open In, and it will give you a list of all the available applications that you can open up your file with. So in the example that's shown here, where it says I have a PDF, and I'm in preview mode, I can open in Adobe, but I can open in other web-based applications that maybe are not Adobe, like Lucid Press. Syncing information is also going to be very important. I noted before that especially in cases where students are going to have difficulty accessing the internet, or if they have sporadic internet access, you want to make sure that you turn on offline access and help them turn it on so that when they leave the school at the end of the day, they can be assured that their document will be available when they get home and they don't have internet access. When they come back into school and they have internet access, again, that information will sync. Printing and downloading. So you can print right from Google Drive if you're trying to print a file. And you can do this in preview mode, or you can double click on the file, open it up, and then go to File, Print. You can also download versions of documents in other formats. You can make a copy of a file, and you can email a copy as an attachment. Okay, now before we go into the Q&A, I'm actually going to take you into Google Drive and just give you a short live demo. Okay, and I'm going to make my screen a little bit bigger, so hopefully that's not too difficult to see. So here I am, drive.google.com, and on the left-hand side I have a navigation bar, navigation menu that has the New button, and when I click on New, I see all of those capabilities. When I click on Shared with Me, I see files that people have shared with me. Notice, and you'll get used to this as you start using Drive more, but each of the files is color-coded for being able to easily tell what type of file it is. So Microsoft Word documents will have a blue W on them, and the equivalent in Google, which is Google Docs, will have a blue square. Microsoft Excel documents will have a green E. Google Sheets, spreadsheets, will be a green box, a green square. Okay. And PowerPoints will have an orange P, and Slides has this little yellow-orange square. Okay. Now, I can easily see how many movies I have here just at a quick glance because movies show up as this little movie icon in red. PDFs show up as a square with PDF in the middle. And now this one's an interesting one. So this little guy, I don't know if you can see him or not, okay, is an icon for an application that I've actually attached to Google Drive called MindMap. And if I double click on it, so this is a special file which I'll show you how to get access to in a moment, but if I double click on this one, it will open in preview mode. And I know it's in preview mode because I can't do anything other than just view it. And when I hover over the middle of it, I can see that I have these little icons at the top. I have a plus sign with a little drive icon that says add to my drive. So right away I know this is a file that someone has shared with me. I have the ability to add this file to the My Drive folder. That just makes it easier for me to see and to view. I also have a print icon, and I have a little share icon. If I select the three buttons or the three round dots, I can see that I can also rename, or I can add this particular file as a favorite. What I can also do, however, is I can click on Open With, and what Open With will do is it will look for any third-party applications that I've connected to Google Drive. In this case, I have connected and used a tool called MindMap to create mind maps. And it's asking me to log in. So a lot of times these third-party applications, when you haven't accessed them from a particular computer, it will ask you to sign in. Okay. I'm just gonna, I've got an X here, which I'm just gonna close up. All right. And I'm gonna show you how you can connect other types of applications. So for those of you who are really comfortable with Drive already, if you've never connected other applications before, take a look, I'll show you how to do it. For those of you where Drive is really just something that you're starting to get a good handle on, I want you to think about Drive as basically a hard drive. And it's really a drive in the cloud. So all this information is being stored on different servers that belong to Google. And they're stored in little bits and pieces. So when you are opening up a file, all those little pieces of information are being gathered and being brought down to your computer. When I click on New, and I can see all these other things that I can do. I can upload a file, create a folder. I can also connect applications. Okay, so think about connecting applications to a drive. So when you're working with a regular computer and you download software on that computer, that software can let you do lots of different things. Edit a PDF perhaps, or edit a picture. Well, you can do the same thing on Drive, and this is really what makes Drive so powerful, is the ability to use third-party applications to do even more. So you can do more than just create documents, create spreadsheets, and create presentations. You can actually do things like edit movies and create assessments or create published documents. When you hover over More, you have this area that says Connect More Apps. And Connect More Apps will allow you to locate other applications. Some of these applications you probably use already because many of them are web-based applications. So web tools that you use separate from Google Apps. Perhaps you have a different username and password for them. The beauty of connecting those apps to Drive is that you have single sign-on, so you only have to sign in to your Google account. And then you can go to New, you click on More, you find the application, and then you're able to use it. This really helps when you're working with students, especially because many times students will perhaps forget passwords, or it takes an extra 5 minutes to have them sign in and sign out. These applications also allow for collaboration as well. So this MindMap application that I showed before allows me as a teacher to actually share the mind map with a student, and we can create that mind map together. Okay, I'm going to pause there and see if there are any questions, Stephanie. So I don't want to go too far in. I really want to keep this simple and understandable.
Sure.
Drive is a place where you house your files and folders.
Okay, yeah, there are a couple questions right now. Tiara, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, asked, she was wondering how long it will be before the rest of us get the new laser pointer and Q&A features in Google Slides. I've been checking the last 4 days and don't have access yet.
Well, I'm sorry to say I don't know, but I will say that I did look at the blog post, and the blog post said that it would be rolling out very soon to everyone. So this is a feature that sometimes gets rolled out to the people who have certain settings, like rapid release it's called. And rapid release isn't really recommended for schools because there are times that Google will update something and it goes out there to test. and we don't want teachers using something and then all of a sudden it gets buggy. But I am happy to report that on the blog that I read yesterday, it did say that it was going out to everybody. So I would say give it another couple of days or a week, but you should get it soon. And just for those of you who have never seen it, this is my slides presentation, right? It's made with Google Slides. When I go to present, I can present in this Q&A mode, and I get this little dialog box that pops up, and I can say click to present. I'm going to say start new, and look at that. It automatically gives me a short link at the top of the presentation, and it says ask a question. And I have the ability to turn that on and off. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that looks really cool. We'll have to test that out in one of these webinars. Okay, so another question from Tiara was, when you use Google Classroom, is there any way you can attach a document that has been shared with you, but you're not the owner of when you create an assignment?
I think I have to take that question in pieces, but let me see if that actually is it's a good question. And it brings me to an important point to make about Google Drive and where classroom files are stored. So Google Classroom is a workflow manager and an assignment manager. It's a platform really to help kids. It started off as a way for teachers to be able to manage assignments, so be able to send an assignment out to students and then have a feature where students turned in their work, so it would be very easy for students to be able to receive feedback and then for the teacher to also assign a grade back to the student, so that the teacher wasn't, if you're looking at my screen, so that the teacher wasn't, drilling into folders and then finding a file and then, adding their comment and then having to email the child. So it really is a wonderful tool to be able to really manage assignments. Well, when you first join Google Classroom and you click on I am a teacher, because it will ask you whether you're a student or a teacher, you always want to say I am a teacher. That will give you the ability to create your own class. When that happens, automatically in My Drive, there's a classroom folder that's created. My classroom folder is right here. I've just highlighted it. And if you double click on it, every single time that a class is created, there's actually a folder that gets created automatically. Whenever you have an assignment, if you double click on the folder, you'll actually see the assignment inside of that folder. So here's my Mrs. Martini third grade class, and these are all the assignments that I've given. And then inside each assignment, if I double click on it, I'll see any of the students that have completed the assignment. So I'm not sure that answered the question, because I think the question was, can I attach a file that is not mine, that's only been shared with me? And the answer is, if I'm thinking of this correctly, you can attach a file that's been shared with you. You just can't make a copy of that file for everyone else unless you are the owner of that file. So if a teacher shares a file with you and you want to be able to use that activity with students, what you want to do is you want to make a copy of that document, and then you'll be able to attach it as an assignment and make a copy for each child.
Okay, and then Tiara wrote in and said, yes, you are correct. That is what we have found. So that did kind of answer it, because it sounds like she's at a school where the teachers collaborate a lot. I do have another question from Susan. How do we set things to be offline, since it doesn't sound like it's automatic?
Yes, that's correct, Susan. It's not automatic. So on my screen, you'll notice that right now I haven't selected any files. All I've done is I've selected Google Drive on the left-hand side, okay, or My Drive. Okay, these are all my folders, things I've created, and any files or folders that were shared with me that I moved into my drive. So if so when I don't select anything, in my drive except for my drive folder. On the right-hand side, you'll notice that I only have 4 icons. I have the icon that turns it from grid view to list view, the icon that lets me sort by name, ascending or descending if I want to, the icon, and let me just click on a folder here so you can see I have that I. The I is pretty awesome, by the way. It tells me what activity has happened in this file. This is especially useful, by the way, if any of you have ever had a file that you perhaps were shared on or that you shared with other people, and then all of a sudden it disappears from your folder because someone has moved it inadvertently. So what you can do is highlight that file or folder, click on activity, and you'll be able to see who actually did it. And then finally you have this gear all the way on the right-hand corner. So the gear is your settings. And if you click on settings, this is on that gear, you'll click on settings. You will get access to a screen, little dialog box, that gives you a couple of different options. You can look at your storage. You can select convert uploaded files to Google Docs editor format. That's a default. I leave it unchecked because sometimes I want to upload files and not convert them. But if you are looking to convert all of your Microsoft Office files and you're a brave soul and you just want to just let it fly and see how it goes, you can select that. And what this will do is anytime you upload a file that's a Microsoft file, it will convert it into the corresponding Google file. You've got some language settings here. And finally, you have this offline section. And the offline section, which is not by default turned on, so you have to click it to check it off, is where you are basically saying that I want to sync Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, and Drawings to this computer so I can edit them online. Okay, and once I click on Done, it will start to download those files for me. So I'm not going to want to do that right now, but this is where that setting is. Okay. You also have some other little features here. You can make your drive a little bit more compact with less spacing between the lines, which is what I have it on, or you can make it more comfortable. On the left-hand side, you have these are some general settings, but you also have notifications. So if I want to get notified whenever there's a change on Drive, I can say notify me on this device. I don't want to do that, otherwise I'll get notifications all day long, but you may want to do that in the beginning. And then finally, there's a section for manage apps. And these are the apps, those third-party apps that for those of you who are advanced users, you may want to check out if you don't know about them. But if you click on new and then more and then connect more apps, you have the ability to download. Or basically you're connecting, you're not downloading anything, but you're connecting all different types of third-party applications to Drive. And then if you want to manage them, you go into this section and manage them. You can make them default. Okay? So for offline capability, you're going to make sure that when you are in Drive, you're going to click on that gear, you're going to click on settings, and then you're going to want to make sure that that offline box is checked off. And then just a word to the warning, it says do not recommended on public or shared computers, because you certainly don't want any of your documents sitting on a library computer. Did that help?
Oh, great. Yeah, I thought that was useful. And then when you were showing something about being able to see who has modified the document, that sparked a question for me, because I had shared a link and not through the Drive sharing, but I copied the link and pasted it in an email and BCC'd everybody. And then I did want to actually see who had changed the document, but it said anonymous, and I'm wondering if that's because it wasn't shared through Drive.
I can tell you what happened there. So let me find a document here, and let me see if I can.
Because I wanted the BCC function, and if I had just shared, I wasn't confident that it would blind copy everybody.
Okay. Well, I'm going to open up a document and we'll go through. I don't know that there's any information here, but when I am in a doc, some of the documents will actually be able to give you this information. Okay. So if I click on File, there is a revision history. So I can see, right, this is what you're talking about.
Yes.
I can see when people made these changes. And sometimes I only see a couple of them because, you know, Google is not going to give you the 100 changes that were made over the last, 40 days. What they're going to do is they're going to try and consolidate those changes. And so it may say 10:43 p.m. and then today's time and date. If you want to see more detailed revisions, you can actually click on the button that says more detailed revisions. This doesn't really have anything, but I mean, I think you get the picture. What I think you did, Stephanie, is remember that link that I showed earlier with my laser pointer? It was like the first thing I did. So I highlight the document, and then if I want to share this document really quickly with someone, I can actually hover over this icon, get shareable link, click on it, okay, and I can turn it on. And so when I turn it on, what the default is for that link is that anyone in my domain can view. So this is particularly helpful for administrators or teacher leaders or coaches who want to be able to share templates very quickly with a team, with someone in their school, or maybe with all the teachers. You don't want to necessarily have to go into that document and then click on the share button and then remember what the name of everybody is or the group. So you can just do shareable link, and with the shareable link, it will just share it will give you a link that anyone in your organization can then use to open up the file. If you give people the permission to not just view but to edit, so if you're not specific about who's editing it, then their edits may show up as anonymous. So you just want to be careful about giving edit rights. It's, in my opinion, it's fine to allow link sharing in view mode because that's okay. I don't mind if anybody in the organization. It won't matter to me whether a 7th grade or 9th grade teacher finds a document and uses it. It's just a template. However, if you give edit access and you're not specific about it, and you just say anybody in the world can edit, well, then I can't really figure out who did it. So you want to be careful when you're sharing via a link, that you're sharing view privileges. If you just want to share it with everybody and you don't really mind what's in it, but when you use edit privileges, you want to make sure that you are sharing with individuals.
Okay, so it won't track who made the changes unless it's specific people, is what it sounds like.
Right.
Okay,
right.
Good to know. All right. There are another couple of questions here. From Susan, would you ever want to uncheck the offline box that you just showed before I interrupted with my question?
Would I ever want to uncheck it? Well, I would say that, I mean, I get internet access pretty consistently, and I can also work from my phone or my tablet. So I don't particularly like to check off the sync button unless I know that I'm traveling perhaps and I'll be at an airport and I don't know if I'll have Wi-Fi on the plane. That's really about the only time that I will click on sync and make sure that I've got the files that I need downloaded on my device. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I just don't want to fill up my hard drive. And remember, your Chromebook has a hard drive also. It's not very big, but it has a hard drive. So I really only recommend using the sync, and maybe others feel differently. And if you do, I'd love to know kind of your reasoning. But I really only check off the sync when I know that I'm going to have a problem with internet connectivity.
That makes sense. Another question here from Raymond. What is the download drive option when you pressed on the gear?
Okay, that's a good question. So a little bit earlier, I talked about syncing information on your hard drive. So when I do offline option, okay, that means that I'm holding files on my hard drive. They're being saved locally. But if I go into those files and I'm not connected to the internet, I have to wait until I get an internet connection to sync them. In contrast, what I can do is I can download a drive application, okay, which will allow me to keep a copy of every single file, not just specific files, but every single file on my hard drive. And when I go to my Finder window, which I just clicked, okay, I'm on a PC. So when I go to my Finder window, I would have a little, so here's my accounts, my desktop, my documents, my downloads, my pictures, and here's Google Drive, okay? And when I go into Google Drive, the reason why I have an actual, I guess, folder that says Google Drive is because I downloaded an application for Google Drive to keep files on my machine, almost like a backup. So, I mean, this machine that I'm on is a pretty heavy-duty machine and has tons of storage. So I do keep a copy of every file as a backup on this machine. But if I were on my other machine that only has about 10 gigs of storage left, I would not download this Google Drive application and keep a backup copy of every single file that I wanted. So you can make that determination if you really need, want to have a backup of your files on a local machine. Instead of clicking offline, which really isn't meant, to store all of your files, because offline will only store your Google files. I should probably make that differentiation as well. So when you check off offline, you are basically making your Google files available on your hard drive. When you download this particular drive application, you are actually downloading and syncing all of your files. So that means images, that means Office files, that means movie files. And so you can see how sometimes having unlimited storage can be a problem, because this is one of my education test accounts. I only have 174 megabytes used, but in my other account I have like 80 gigs of content, and I certainly don't want to hog up all of the space on my desktop with 80 gigs of stuff. I do it on this machine because I have a lot of storage, but on my other machines I wouldn't do it.
That makes sense. And I guess if somebody had some kind of external drive, they could, transfer it over there and keep it, keep their actual, especially like Chromebook or other machine, light and free of all the files. That's the beauty of Drive, right?
Absolutely. Yep. But I mean, I should probably say though, I live in the cloud. Mm-hmm. So I never go into my Finder or, and access files that way, my File Explorer. I always go just to drive.google.com, whether I'm on my phone or my tablet or any of my machines. And I have to say, in the 9 years that I've been using Google Drive, I think maybe once I had a problem where I had to wait to get access because it was down. But once in 9 years is pretty good.
That's incredible. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, I think, very, very handy to be able to just jump in there whenever and not worry about which version you're in or something. Well, I think that might be, if anyone else has questions, we do have a couple more minutes. Looks like you covered everything. Raymond, he had a couple follow-ups, but then he said thank you. You covered when would you use Drive versus Sync, or the whole downloading. So I think that was covered really well.
Yeah, I think what I would recommend, because I know that we have lots of schools in the pilot, and some of the schools may have some difficulty connecting to the internet or having consistent connectivity, even during bad weather, because I know that bad weather can also impact connectivity. What I would suggest is, maybe Stephanie, we can do this on our end even, is to print out a little how-to on how to turn on offline capabilities in Google Drive for students, especially if they think that they're going to have a problem at home, so that they don't have to worry, so that they actually have access to all of their files, even if they don't have access at home. And it's probably good practice anyway, because every child will have their own device. You don't have to worry that 6 kids are going to require offline access and take up a lot of storage on those devices. So it should be one of the first things as you're introducing the Chromebooks to students, is if you do live in an area where internet connectivity might be a problem, is just to show them how to turn that on, and then you're all set.
Yes, that does sound like a good idea. We did just get another question in from Walter. Is there a way to sync Chromebook screen capture to Drive easy? He puts that in quotes.
Yes.
Okay.
So so the question is, when you are on a Chromebook and you do a screenshot, I think, if you have your settings in Chrome set to download files into a downloads folder, then those screenshots, and frankly any link that you click on the internet where it downloads something automatically, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you click on a link and it starts to download and you go, no, 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 I just wanted a preview. So let me show you how to do that. And this should carry through in all the settings if you do it just once in Google Chrome. So I'm logged into my Chrome browser right now. If I go over to the upper right hand corner to my Chrome menu, which is the 3 lines, and I click on the Chrome menu, and then I click on Settings. Okay, and if you're on a Chromebook, you can do the same thing actually. You can just go to your Chrome settings. Your Chrome settings on a Chromebook are going to be on the bottom right hand side of your shelf. Your shelf is that little strip on the bottom of your Chromebook. So if you just click anywhere in that section where the network icon is or where your profile is, you'll be able to click on settings, and you can click on settings there and also get access to it. So what you want to do is make sure, if you're not on a Chromebook, that you are signed into Chrome. So in this case, I'm not signed into Chrome, so I want to make sure that I'm signing into Chrome so that my settings will save and they'll take. If I add extensions or applications, there's no guarantee if I'm not signed into Chrome that they're going to carry over. Okay, so now this account is already being used on this computer. Okay, well, we'll just leave that alone. So I'm gonna just scroll down to where it says Advanced Settings, and I'm gonna click on Advanced Settings. Okay, and I'm gonna continue to scroll until I see the section that says Downloads. You see where that says Downloads? So when I'm on this machine, which is a desktop, not a Chromebook, when I'm on this machine, I have the ability to change my download location. So whenever I do a screenshot, take a screenshot, or something downloads, I can actually, let me see, I can go digging for my Drive folder. I can actually select Google Drive here. What will happen is when you are on a Chromebook and you click on change, it's only going to give you the other default, which is Drive, Google Drive, because on a Chromebook you only have downloads, which are the files that get downloaded onto the hard drive, or you have Google Drive. So that is where you're going to want to make the change. You want to go to the section called Downloads, and you just want to change that to Google Drive. Does that help?
Yeah, I think that's great, and that's perfect because we're right at the end of our time here. I'm going to switch the screen back over so I can show some information on our last slide here. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Here it comes. Okay. Excellent. Yes, thanks to everybody for attending today's webinar. Thank you, Blanca, for the presentation. If you have any other questions, I've put up my email and Blanca's email. And when you leave the webinar today, you'll receive a survey on the presentation. We would appreciate it if you would complete that and provide your feedback. Also, please don't forget to visit our nr21.ctl.net website for news and information for Nevada Ready 21 educators. I also put a special link here. It's kind of long, but it will be in the recording that you receive so you can review it again. We have a ton of webinars coming up in May, and there's some great topics. Some of the apps you'll be using, WeVideo, NC Lab, NoteFlight. So I'm really excited about those, and we have so many. I just thought this is a great one-stop resource right there. So thank you so much. You'll be getting a follow-up email within 24 to 48 hours with a link to view a recording of today's webinar. On behalf of CTL and our presenters, thank you for joining us today, and have a great afternoon.